Today I'm showing you the best HUD settings so that your game could go from looking like this to looking like this. And then I'm gonna break down some of my favorite game-changing settings that you need to change for Black Ops 7. And I've got some secret tips to at least help alleviate the buggy HUD settings. As crazy as it is, this is the default HUD settings for Black Ops 7. So let's change all of this. First things first, you'll go to your settings, interface, and then scroll over to gameplay HUD. Here we will find all of these different sorts of things to adjust, but before we get to that, if we go to our zombie HUD presets, you can change your theme. Our current theme is the standard theme, but there is an Ethereum theme, and there should be more themes coming throughout the seasons, and you can change to these themes at any time in any mode. I am a little concerned because they advertised that we were going to be able to change the color of these themes, but with both of the themes we have, there's no color available. Now this is day 0 in New Zealand, so that might update. Check the description or the comments if it has updated. But outside of that little heartache and kind of frustration point, we could go to our layouts. If you scroll through these layouts, you'll notice all of the different HUD widgets and icons will go through all of these different areas, and they'll go through different scales and stuff too. Unfortunately, these are currently bugged. For example, Classic should get rid of the minimap and the compass and the health bars and damage numbers, but if we switch to Classic, this is the one that all of you zombie fans are going to want to do because it puts your perks in the bottom left, puts the round counter in the bottom left, and it should take care of everything, but it, as you see, doesn't do anything. There is a solve for this, don't you worry, and it is found inside of the regular gameplay HUD settings. So yes, go into your layouts, choose the one you want. Usually standard, people like standard and just taking things off. That's perfectly fine too. I love Classic, that's what we're going to go with, but you'll notice in these layouts, there is no HUD theme that completely removes the HUD. If we scroll all the way down, Frontline is the last one and it still shows something. So if you want a no HUD option, all you need to do, this is very easy, go to your HUD widget visibility, turn that off, HUD info visibility, turn that off, all within the simple gameplay HUD, and boom, your HUD is now gone. Now, there are other things not on the HUD, like the zombie damage numbers, the health bars, and all that stuff that you're gonna need to turn off separately, which I'm gonna show you right now, but this is your no HUD settings. I know that's very important for a lot of us, especially here on YouTube. So you'll go into your settings, interface, gameplay HUD, and just turn these off. These two things though, they're very important. We're gonna skip them for now because they are bugged. Instead, I wanna point out this scale. As you can see right now, this is the scale of the HUD, but we can change that with this scale slider all the way down to -0.3, and look at that, that's pretty small. That's pretty small. And honestly, I don't hate it. That's not bad. But as for me, I'm gonna keep that at 0.1. Now, skipping over the HUD widget visibility, HUD info visibility, those two are glitched right now, but don't worry, I have a fix for that. We scroll down to the zombie health bar and damage numbers. We can turn those off, and obviously that will turn off the damage numbers and the health bars, which is fantastic. You'll notice we're still getting hit markers. We still have our hip fire reticle, which is actually broken down into two things. Going down here, we have the minimap and the compass, which I mean, I guess we can turn the compass off right there. We have the ability to enable or disable the pack-a-punch camo. And here we have two separate things for crosshairs. We have the lines of the crosshairs, and we have the center dot of the crosshair. You can make those independent, turn them on or off independently, really cool. You could change the color of the crosshair, which is fantastic. Why is this not for the rest of the HUD? I don't know. We have the hit marker visuals, which I always like turning off, and some more advanced options here. Now, this still looks pretty ugly, but we've gotten rid of our hit markers and our health bars and damage numbers, but we still have the score feed, the minimap, this ugly objective indicator. We can turn those off. If we go into our gameplay HUD settings, the trick about these two options, if you were to turn off the minimap, the compass, the mission tracker, and then if you were to scroll down and scroll back up, guess what? It reset. Yep, that's what it takes. And it's not just your scroll wheel either. If we turn those off, do that, scroll down here, scroll back up, boom, reset. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I know. But here we have the loadout information, minimap, compass, score streak widget. A lot of people might want to hide that, hide the gobblegums, hide the squad widget, hide the round numbers for some reason, perks for some reason, but we do have the ability to turn off the mission tracker. And if we turn off the minimap, the compass, and the mission tracker, and if we don't do anything, if we just exit out of here, it will actually turn them off. And you could see that objective indicator is gone for the first time in 5 years. The objective indicator's gone. It's so beautiful. I freaking love it. And look at the HUD now. This is gorgeous. Now, I believe we still have the score feed, which, you know, some people might want, but to turn that off, when we go back into our interface settings, guess what just happened? Oh, they turned themselves back on. So what you need to do is I would start with the HUD info visibility. In here, we have the names and toasts, medals and notifications. Trick, please separate these. Please separate these, and also fix the HUD settings, please. Score feed, elimination feed, in-game text chat, all this good stuff. We're gonna turn off the score feed and medals and notifications. Well, actually, no, I'll keep those on to show you. And then in here, we will turn off minimap, compass, and mission tracker. And then if you collapse those, expand those, should still be good. Okay, don't scroll. You just exit out and boom, now we have the HUD that we want. But I will remind you, anytime you go into your HUD settings, your interface gameplay HUD settings, boom, it has all reset again. You exit out and everything's back again. This needs to be fixed. I really hope it's fixed by the time you see this video, but if it's not, here's my genius workaround. If we go to our interface settings and all of the things that we want to turn off within these two drop downs, I have favorited them. I forget exactly what you call it, but when you star them, you go to your quick settings and they are all right here. And so I've trained myself, hey, turn off the mission tracker, turn off the score feed, compass, medals and notifications if you want, minimap visibility, there you go, and we're good. So instead of going through like 4 different interface gameplay settings and drop downs, it's all just in my quick settings. Whoop, there you go, quick settings again. Now, unfortunately, that means when you go into your quick settings, you need to do this every time, but it's your quick settings, so it's quick. Unfortunately, it is pretty, in my opinion, unacceptable that this is the case when the HUD is such a big, heavy focus, but man, I think it is so worth it. And there's the medals. The reason the medals and notifications, I want them separate is because I want to see when I get like weapon XP and progress around or progress a level while not having those medals, but that's up to you. Now, there are some additional HUD settings in our interface. If we go to readability, down here we have the high contrast mode, which is pretty cool. It outlines the zombies and it also outlines your allies. You have some more options. If you show more, you can darken the background, which will make everything very, very dark. It really makes the enemy stand out. Could be good for speed runs or certain Easter egg steps. And you could also outline them or have the full color, so they could be fully that color depending on what you want, whatever you like. Basically a free depth perception. We have color customization for the minimap. Now this is more of a multiplayer thing, but I always switch the team and the party. The team is usually default blue. I turn it to green. And then the party is default green. I turn that to blue because that's how it was back in the day in Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3. But inside of here, I want to show you and get your opinion because I think this makes the world look a lot more beautiful. So obviously, beautiful map here, some purples, some oranges with the fire. Take a look at it here. If we go to our settings, interface, readability, color customization, color filter, I have found that filter number 2 with the target of world set at 100%, it gives us a little bit more vibrancy, a little bit warmer of an orange, a little bit cooler or a more saturated purple and blue. So hopefully that side by side was good. Maybe I could replay that back in editing. I think that's what I'm gonna go with because everything looks just a little bit more saturated, looks a little bit better, especially on camera. So if you find the world to be a little bit drab, you could do that and play around with these color customization settings. We have subtitles, obviously, if you want to put on subtitles. In global interface settings, you can skip the introduction movie, which is just your startup. Moving on to audio settings, we have the game volume. You can change if dialogue is too quiet, you could turn everything else down. If the dialogue is too loud, you could turn it down. Pretty self-explanatory stuff here. I did want to point out the reduced tinnitus sound from stuns, flashes, shell shock, all that stuff, and the hit marker. You can change from default to classic, whichever you want to do, the default Black Ops 7 or the old school Black Ops hit marker. Pretty cool. Moving on to my graphics, I do have a 4080 Super and I think a Ryzen 7 3700 X3D as my processor. Both very good, very happy to have them. They play everything on max settings, even opened this and this feels really good. I am using DLSS and frame gen just to test it out. I don't know, I'm a little nervous about it. I do turn off depth of field, and I would highly recommend, let's go to our view, highly recommend 120 field of view in zombies, maybe 110 in multiplayer. You want as much peripheral vision in zombies as possible. Same thing with the third person. You want as wide as possible, and for the weapon and vehicle field of view, you can see on the right here, the wide makes it so that the weapons look smaller. Again, just more stuff that you could see on your screen. Very useful for both zombies and multiplayer. I turn off world and weapon motion blur, and I've reduced the camera movement. Now, I don't know how much this helps in multiplayer, but I hate it when my screen shakes. So I've done that as least as we could. And I have inverted flashbang, so I don't get flashbanged. Now, in one of the settings that I want you to do, whether you're on controller, mouse, and keyboard, I want you to go to your combat settings and go to your advanced combat settings, and please read everything here, but first look at this armor plate behavior. By default, this is apply all, meaning you're gonna apply all the armor plates that you can if you're low on them, as opposed to just one at a time. You can change that here if you want to. Additionally, you could change your C4 detonation all at once or one by one. I just saw that. Manual fire behavior, this is really cool. Hold. So press is our normal semi-auto behavior. If I hold down the trigger, I'm just gonna pull the trigger once, I guess, in game for the gun. But if we switch that to hold, then if we hold down the trigger, we're gonna shoot semi-automatic automatically. Now, it's not as fast as fully automatic, clearly, but this could be really useful for certain weapons, specifically like snipers. We also have akimbo behavior. You could do each of them independently like we've always done, or paired. So that way when you pull the trigger, both of your akimbo weapons shoot at the same time. There's also stuff like sprint cancels reload, mantle cancels reload, interact behavior. I don't usually do this stuff. You could do tap to reload, prioritize interact, prioritize reload. Lots of that is more important on console with the controller than it is on mouse and keyboard, but even still, it is good to know it's there. I did want to point out that if we go to our keybinds, combat advanced keybinds, there is a button that you can dedicate to switching to your melee. If you don't want to hold your melee, you could just click one button and it's right there. I found that incredibly useful. I love that, and speedrunners might love that too. And I know these are fairly obvious because they're the first thing here, but you can switch to third person and you can swap your shoulder with your sprint button if you're standing still. Could be good for some reticle challenges and just kind of fun. This is really interesting. We also have the ability to switch our field upgrade mid-game and switch our gobblegum pack mid-game. So don't forget about those settings there. I know the HUD is pretty controversial and it can be very cluttered, especially by default, but if you put in a little bit of time, use those quick save features, your game can look just like this. And this, in my opinion, looks so clean. Now, if you want to see my first reaction to Black Ops 7 and the ridiculousness that is customizing this HUD, be sure to check out my first impressions live stream right here, subscribe, and stay beautiful.